Welcome back to Marquita Green Motivates YouTube channel. I am so excited that you have clicked the button to hear what is going to be delivered to you today. We are in a world where we get so riled up. There's so much going on. We're coming and going. We're ripping and running. We're moving and shaking. And there's not enough time of stillness. There's not enough time for peace, enough time for us to collect our minds and to just think about where we are and to reflect on how grateful we should be just for what it is that we have and what it is that we're going through, the spaces and the places that we're in, because they're meant for something greater than we can see. And the reason why our minds are so cluttered and the reason why we're overwhelmed with life, right, is because we're not saying no. Because there's something about those two little letters that when we put them together and make a word out of them, when we put them together to make a sentence out of them, there's something that doesn't quite feel right. And so I am here to share with you the three key reasons why we fail to say no. I'm going to give you some suggestions on how you can break that habit, because the goal is not to always say yes. The goal is to give your best yes in every situation. In order to be able to give your very best yes, we have to learn the power of no. And we have to be okay understanding that no is a complete sentence. So let me just jump right on in. If you are like me, you like to get as much information as you can. You like to be like a sponge where you soak it all up, where you can be in the room and you don't miss a beat about what's going on around you. When you're in a workplace, you're able to do your job and Sue's job and John's job and everybody else's job because you are observant. You pay attention because you show up with your full self when you show up. And what that means is that when it comes time to saying no, you don't. And it is because of FOMO. That's right. The number one reason, or one of the top three reasons why we don't say no, is for fear of missing out. We don't say no because we're afraid we're going to miss something. We don't say no because if we're not in the room, then we can't get into the information. We don't say no because we feel like if for whatever reason I don't do it, it might not get done. But these are all false realities. These are all misconceptions that we make up in our mind that we believe to be true, but they're not. We should not be saying yes to everything that comes our way simply because of FOMO. We should not fail to allow our no to rise up because we're afraid of missing out on something. We will not lose the promotion. We will not lose the man. We will not become terrible parents. We will not lose the job. We will not lose the house. We will not lose the position. We will not lose because we're not in one room at a given time. There are so many factors at play when decisions are made. There are so many factors at play when things are happening around us. Sometimes the fear of missing out is the very thing that is keeping you in bondage to the things that you don't need to be attached to. I'm going to leave that right there, because that could be a whole video for another day. But sometimes we're showing up to places where we don't even belong simply because we fear that we're missing out on something. You're not meant to be in every situation. You're not meant to show up on all the party scenes. You're not called to be in every situation. If you are saying yes because you fear that you're missing out on something, you very well could be saying no to God. You very well could be saying yes to the things that are distracting you, the things that are keeping you in bondage, the things that are holding you back in your mind, the things that are tormenting your mind. What is it that you're saying yes to? Don't allow FOMO to have you say yes. Instead, take a second and do a self-reflection and say, if I say yes, what might be a likely outcome? If I say no, what could be a likely outcome? Give yourself permission to pause before giving an answer. You may not be missing out. at the end of the day. With that being said, that leads us into the reason number 2 of why we don't say no. Why the first thing that swells up in our voice is a yes when someone asks us to do something is because we're afraid of disappointing somebody. We're afraid that if we say no, that somebody is going to be upset with us. Somebody is going to be disappointed in us. Somebody is not going to be excited about our no. That somebody might stop talking to us. That somebody might turn their backs on us. That somebody might not be there for us when we need a yes from them. These are not good reasons for saying yes. Disappointment is a feeling that ebbs and flows. It's something that comes and goes at a moment's time. Their disappointment is a feeling, is an emotion that they have to sit with, that they have to deal with. It's something they have to come to grips with and they have to get over. Their disappointment is not always a reflection of you. It's not always a reflection of the outcome of your ultimate relationship. Their disappointment does not depict or predict what you will become and what other opportunities will come your way. When we understand that sometimes your no may save a relationship, then you'll have to understand that some disappointments are worth the wait. Some disappointments are necessary because there are some lessons, there are some situations that we have to allow individuals to walk through on their own. There are some situations where you're not going to be able to stay connected in a situation. You're not going to be able to fix a thing for somebody. You're not always going to be able to show up for people when they immediately need somebody to show up, because that may be the season that God is setting them aside to work through some things on themselves. They may be in their own testing season that they may have to take the test on their own self. You remember being in grade school and you remember what it was like to take a spelling test or a math test, and you may not have known the answer, and you may have wanted to look at your classmate's paper. You may have wanted to look at your classmate's test exam, but you don't know if they had the right answers or not. Their test might have been different than your test. In today's day and age, I think they're a little bit smarter, but in today's day and age, what they tend to do is give the same questions, but they change the order because of what I just said, because your neighbor's test isn't your test, which means that there are some things that they have to walk through on their own. And even if they're disappointed because they looked over on your paper and wrote the wrong answer, that's not on you. And so you have to give yourself the grace to, again, pause and think about what the disappointment could be and whether or not it's a disappointment that might be worth it in the season. But simply disappointing somebody is not a reason to say yes. It's not a reason to cloud your schedule. What we need to do when those situations rise up is do a pros and cons list and say, hey, is the disappointment worth it? Is this a test that they need to and are able to pass on their own? And then give yourself the grace and the space to use those 2 letters, put them together in a word, and then put them together in a sentence and say no. And understand that your no today is not going to change the world. It's not going to break up the atmosphere. It is not going to create an ultimate catastrophe in their life. They will find a way to get to their finish line. They will find a way to complete their test with or without you. It's okay to say no for self-preservation, even if it means a slight disappointment for somebody else. Now, the third reason why we have trouble saying no is because we don't know how. It sounds so easy to hear, put those 2 little letters together, make a word, and then make a sentence, put an exclamation point in there, boom, bam, you got it. It's not always that easy. It's not always easy for the reasons that have just been identified. It's not easy to feel like you're letting somebody down. It's not easy when you're so used to saying yes. It's not easy when you're used to being the person that everybody always comes to. It's not easy when you know that you have the ability and the skill set to show up and do a thing. However, your constant continual yes could be to your detriment. Your constant continual yes could be to your downfall. Your constant continual yes will prevent you from saying yes to the things that matter the absolute most because you're filled to capacity. When you think about a cup, right? And when you think about the capacity that it has to hold a thing, if this was filled to the brim with liquid, there's nothing else that I can pour in it. I may say yes that I want some more tea, but if this is full to the brim, I cannot put any more tea in it. And the tea might be the very thing I need to calm my spirit. The tea might be the very thing I need to calm my nerves. But I will miss the opportunity to fill my cup with tea if it is overflowing with water. So if my cup is overflowing with the things that are not the things that God desires for me, if my cup is overflowing with the things that are distracting me and pulling me away from Him, if my cup is overfilled by the enemy's tactics to cloud my mind, if my cup is filled with every yes that I have given out of fear of missing out, with every yes that I have given out of the rare chance that I might disappoint somebody, if my yes is given for the wrong motives, then I am leaving my best yes on the table, and that is not what we're called to do. And so, now that you understand why we sometimes have a hard time saying no, I want to give you a few ways of saying yes. So we can no longer have this idea that we can't say no because we don't know how. So here are a few things. When no feels too harsh, when you just cannot say no. Understanding that you do not owe people an explanation. But when you feel like you just can't say no, then you can say, I'm not going to be able to do that right now. I want you to practice that. I'm not going to be able to do that right now. Another way that you can say no when the simple words or letters no put in together as a word says no, you can offer an alternative. I can't help you with that, but you know who I know is very good at that might be able to help you? You might want to check with so-and-so. Offer an alternative if you're not comfortable leaving a no on the table. You have then not left the person hanging, but now you have given them something to fall back on, somebody else that they might be able to go to get a yes. And then another way that you can say no without saying no is saying, thank you, but unfortunately, this is not a good time. Acknowledging that you appreciate the ask, acknowledging that you appreciate the offer, and then following up with, but unfortunately, this is not a good time. It doesn't mean that your no is going to last forever. It lets them know that you're grateful for the offer, but it secures your no, and it allows you the space that you need to give your best yes to you. I want to leave you with those things because I think when we are uncomfortable with a no, those are the three key reasons. I think we're uncomfortable with saying no. 1, because of fear of missing out. 2, because we don't want to disappoint somebody. And 3, because we simply don't know how. Now that you have been given some encouragement, you have been given some hope that it's okay to say no because your no may save your life, then I want you to practice the 3 tips that I gave you. When you don't know how to say no with an explanation point, making no a complete sentence, then you do have the option of saying not right now. You do have the option of offering alternative, and you can also say, unfortunately, this is not a good time for me. Let me know which of these resonates the most with you. And if you have liked this video, then I want you to hit the subscribe button, because I don't want you to miss out on the other things that is yet to come. We are moving in a new season of strength, a new season of growth, a new season of development, a new season of manifestation. And if you follow me, you will be able to soar with me into your destiny, your purpose, and your God-given calling. And so click the subscribe button, comment, share this video with your friends and your loved ones, and be sure to let me know how you will manifest no in this season. Peace.